I'm keeping it simple. I'm keeping it... Siemano. I knew it's gonna happen one day that I'm vlogging and someone enters the control room. It's the first time it happened, and you know what? There's a hint of a feeling that someone caught you with your pants down. Hi people of the web, good to see you back. I'm Paul, this is my studio Warsaw, Poland, and my humble YouTube channel, a place to talk about music production, mixing, mastering, sound design, game audio and more. And you know what, today actually I'm gonna tell you what I'm not gonna for you today. First, because I wanted to review Strymon Reverb plugin that is just out, but you know what, I was so busy that my demo expired. Yeah, and I wrote to Strymon so that they grant me an NFR so I still can review, but they didn't reply. But you know what, all this made me think of reverbs in general, because I always wanted to make a video about reverbs I'm actually using and how I use them and for what. So today we're still gonna focus on reverbs. All My Reverbs is the title of the episode, and let's go. Okie dokie people, and please remember that what I'm gonna show you is just the general idea of me using reverbs. I'm gonna show you some kinds of material and different reverbs I usually use with them, but that doesn't mean it's always like this. I can switch my reverbs, I can still use new ones, I can do whatever I think that's creative and needed right now. So this is a general picture of things, but it's not constant and it's not always like that, and I just need you to know it. And let's get to the first category, drums and my drums reverb. So what I did is I created a very simple drum loop for you. I'm gonna play it to you dry and then I'm gonna add the reverb. Yes, I'm creating a very tight artificial space because I'm usually working with electronic drums and I need to keep the space around the drums tight, and I'm fine with making it as artificial as possible, I would even say. And the perfect machine for this is AMS RMX16 expanded version by Universal Audio, which is a recreation of a vintage digital machine of an early digital age, and it fits my drums usually perfectly, guys, and I love it on drums. And let's tweak it maybe a bit. Yes, and you know what? I also used to use SPX 2000 by Yamaha reverbs on my drums, but I sold that machine like 2 days ago. So now I'm left with AMS RMX16, and you know what? I'm in 95%. I'm fine with this, and I totally recommend you this reverb on electronic drums. Let's go to the next category. Yes, vocal reverb. And the same story, I'm gonna play a vocal loop for you. I took it from looperman.com, highly recommend it again. And then I'm gonna add reverb.
Gotta use your head now. You do you, defeat the blues. Gotta use your feet now, honey. You got two for walking shoes. You got no gas left in the tank, making all those same mistakes.
Yes, my friends, and this is Cinematic Rooms by Liquid Sonics. Why I love it on vocals? Because it's very, very smooth. It fits vocals usually perfectly. It's very lush, very elegant, I would say, and it creates amazing spaces for vocals. I used to use Lexicon PCM on vocals most, but I prefer actually this one. It's a very high quality machine. Also incredibly tweakable, with the surround support up to 7.4 or something. I don't even remember. And you know what? Let's gonna tweak it now in simple stereo.
Gotta use your head now. You do you, defeat the blues. Gotta use your feet now, honey. You got 2 for walking shoes. You got no gas left in the tank, making all those same mistakes. Ba-ba-da-boo. Got a big potential.
Yeah, changing the tone completely in seconds, but what I really like most in this thing, that it's natural when I want it, of course, and I'm not creating weird spaces with it. I'm keeping it simple, I'm keeping it... Siemano. Nagrywam sobie właśnie vloga. I knew it's gonna happen one day that I'm vlogging and someone enters the control room. It's the first time it happened, and you know what? There's a hint of a feeling that someone caught you with your pants down. Sorry to say, it's kind of private and intimate. Anyway, vlogging for you guys. Let's get back to our cinematic rooms. I tweaked it for you a bit, and as I said, I keep it simple and natural, and that's why I love this reverb. Let's go to the next category. Yes, acoustic instruments, and I created a simple piano phrase for you. I'm gonna play it and then I'm gonna engage the reverb again. And my choice for acoustic instruments is Valhalla Room. And it's a bit like with cinematic rooms, I would say, because I like it. It can be both creative and natural, but I still tend to use it in natural settings, like more transparent, smooth things. And they usually work very well with acoustic instruments. And why this and not cinematic rooms? Because tweaking cinematic rooms takes a bit more time, I think, and I don't use vocals so much in music that I'm having here in the studio. And when I'm having acoustic instruments without vocals, which is more often, Valhalla Room is simply easier somehow and faster to tweak, and the algorithm library and their quality is amazing, and Sean Costello is an amazing guy, and it's just $50. I mean, this guy is crazy. This is the best price to performance ratio ever with Valhalla plugins. Everybody knows it. Let's tweak it more. Yeah, it becomes a little bit springy, tweakable in an amazing and a very, very fast way, guys. That's why it's my choice. Next category. Synths, reverb, same story. We're gonna play the synth phrase and then we're gonna add some reverb. A cheesy solo. And my choice here is UAD Lexicon 480L. Why is that? Because, guys, this reverb, as for me, is halfway between being totally artificial and totally natural. I think the details of Lexicon are very natural, very smooth, lush, also transparent and elegant somehow. But the initial phases of this machine can go kind of crazy, kind of characterful, and usually they work very well with my synth content the way I like it, because I want somehow my synths being reverberated, and I want to hear the initial phase of reverberation on my synths. Usually somehow it works for me, and 4ATL is amazing for this purpose. And again, let's tweak it a bit. Yes, so the parameter that does the initial phase of this reverb is called shape. And yes, this is where the all magic of this reverb, as for me, goes and is hidden. And let's maybe go for a whole. Yeah, so it's blooming, like blooming in a very, very nice way. The controls are, well, Lexicon original controls, not maybe the most handy and intuitive, but I totally got used to it, and I love it on my synths. Next category. It's not a secret that I'm a filmmaker for over a decade. I'm a film mixer, and when doing the dialogue for film, also Foley's and some other stuff, you have to use reverb, and it has to be acoustically perfect somehow. And usually I use two reverbs together in each film project, and I'm gonna show them both to you. The first one is REVERBS by Steinberg. It's an onboard Nuendo convolution reverb. Kind of a simple one, yet a very good sounding one, and a very powerful one. And when I have an ADR line that I have to fit in initially, and I have to make it sound probable, like it was recorded on location, on when I have some lavalier signals that are too dry, and I actually want to make them acoustically probable, I take a dialog line, a dialog track in mono, and I add a bit, like 30% of this reverb. And now I'm gonna show you why. Hello everybody. I'm quite thrilled to test my both Rode NT2A and 1000 Labs Sphere. 1000 Labs goes straight to my new Camden preamp, while Rode NT2A goes to my RME stock preamp, which is also Yeah, so I'm not in the studio anymore. I'm in an empty, unfurnished room, let's say. Initially, of course, I have to work a bit more on that. But yes, this is the first stage of reverberation that I use sometimes. And then there's the reverb I use all the time and exclusively. I mean, I need nothing else. And it's not a surprise also for many of you. It's REVERBS I, which is an amazing convolution machine. The best out there. Yes, it is really the best. And let's hear it in action. Hello, everybody. I'm quite thrilled to test my both Rode NT2A and 1000 Labs Sphere. 1000 Labs goes straight to my new Camden preamp, while Rode NT2A goes to my RME stock preamp. Yeah, something like that. So guys, REVERB is the reverb that actually blends the initial audio track, dialogue track into the mix of the film. So it creates the main, the proper acoustic space, both in stereo and surround. I do surround mixes for cinema, for theaters as well. And well, really, it is the most probable, the most organic, natural reverb I've ever heard. And I cannot live without it. I bought it years ago, and it's not a cheap thing, but I can't imagine my work simply without it. So, two convolutions, REVERBS by Steinberg and REVERBS I XL, they always take me there in my dialogue and Foley film work. Next category. I called it Spacious, and I'm gonna play to you what I mean. Yeah, so I took very short, dry synth signal on purpose because I wanted you to really hear what it does. And it's a beloved, most precious thing for many ambient and cinematic music makers. And this is Eventide Black Hole, guys. Yes, it can sound incredibly spacious, incredibly distant, and out of this world. And well, that's why it's loved by many, also by me, and I use it on many cinematic ambient elements when I need to, on any source: vocals, drums, synths, pads, whatever is needed. And I'm gonna tweak it for you now, because there's one interesting thing I'd like you to hear. Yes, when you make it really short, when you reduce the size, it starts sounding like a spring reverb, actually, which is also kind of amazing from this very spooky, artificial, digital space to an analog-like spring kind of space, which is also really cool in this reverb. And guys, this is actually all, but you know what? I'm gonna make some honorable mentions. These are the reverbs I'm also having at hand, and I use them sometimes. The first one to present is Seventh Heaven, also by Liquid Sonics. It's a sampled version of Bricasti M7 reverb. And well, it's amazing. It's totally great. But you know what? I never made friends with it. I think it's the closest one to 480L in character maybe, but I tend to choose 480L simply. But when I don't find the quality I'm looking in 480L, then I go for Seventh Heaven sometimes, but I don't know why. This is simply the matter of preference. But I use it also sometimes. Another one I'm using when I'm not finding what I want to find with Black Hole usually is Raum. It's got 3 different characters that can also sound very spooky, out of this world, with very long, weird tails and content. And yes, usually when I'm not happy with black hole results, then I go for Raum, which is also really a cool reverb that I can recommend. And guys, I think that's it. And I'm ready to sum the things up. Isn't my reverb library a bit too extensive? No, not really, because I really am putting to work everything that you saw. I'm using all this. That means that my library of reverbs is efficient and it does its job, even if it's more than one or just 2 reverb machines, guys. And there's actually one reverb I bought once, only one, that I bought once and I don't use it at all, and it's Pro R by FabFilter. Not because it's a bad one, it's an amazing one as well, but I simply found ways to work with other ones than Pro R. But really, guys, all the rest is there working for me. So, well, probably what I do on everyday basis is kind of versatile. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a music producer, and I need a lot of reverberation in everyday work. So maybe, maybe I am kind of a good source to ask about reverbs and review them. Well, I hope so at least, and I hope as always that you find it informative, fun, and first of all, I hope to see you back very, very soon. Go reverberate something today, guys. Take care, see you soon.